All right. So it is now 1 o'clock. So I'm going to begin the meeting today. So thank you guys all for attending our second NCC meeting of the 2026-2027 program year. In case you don't know, my name is Dana Rogers, and I am the Chapter Services Manager here at AGA National. We are very excited for today's meeting. We've got a lot of people speaking, talking about some really exciting opportunities this program year. So if at any point you have any questions, feel free to type in the chat or raise your hand. Now, that being said, this session is going to be recorded, and I will send out a link to the recording along with any the slides and any links and resources. Actually, I'm going to send you a lot of links, kind of in a one-stop shop email there. So prepare to bookmark. All right. So if you can see my screen right now, just take a moment to look at our agenda. Like I said, we're going to have a lot of speakers here today. We're going to talk about some exciting updates with partnership, with membership, and then you're going to have an opportunity to connect with your area directors. So very exciting there. Now, before we do all of that, I know a lot of you here were in attendance at LEAD. So on behalf of AGA, I would just like to give a huge thank you to all of our chapter leaders, our area directors, our AGA staff for making LEAD 2026 a huge hit. We appreciate it. We hope you guys had a wonderful time. And thank you for everything that you guys do and for participating. We had a wonderful time. So that being said, I do want to mention a few people. Some honorable shout outs here. So at LEAD, we did ask that chapters represent their area by wearing their area's color. So I wanted to give a shout out to 2 areas here. Everyone did a wonderful job, by the way. But I have area 4 here. Excuse me. Shout out to them. Dressed in the 9s in purple. Wonderful job, area 4. Yeah, let's give a shout out to Area 4. Thanks, Dan, for that heart. Awesome. All right. And then we have our Area 7. So they were dressed in green. They even brought along sunglasses, got really into it. We love that. So huge shout out to our Area 7 as well. And also shout out to everyone who joined, participated. We appreciate you. Just thought these were some fun pictures and I wanted to share them and get some special shout outs there. All right. So next, I am going to pass the mic to Sarah Cunningham, who, if you were at LEAD, you know is our 2026-2027 National President-elect. She will be in attendance at all of our NCC meetings throughout the program year, and also is a really great resource if you guys have questions or just want to touch base, anything AGA related, maybe life related. So without further ado, I am going to pass the mic over to Sarah.
Am I off mute now? Oh, thank goodness. Sorry, I was double muting myself. So apologies, everybody, on the extra delay. Good afternoon. It is so great to see everybody. Happy to help with everything, the life stuff. I'll let you use your judgment. Thank you, Dana, for the confidence. But definitely super excited to be here with everybody. And I wanted to start off with a thank you. It's not easy to be taking time out of our days and coming to these, but you give time to AGA. You provide your leadership to the chapters. You provide so much to our community. So thank you for showing up again today when I know everything is going on and busy for everybody. I wanted to maybe start off where LEAD left off a little bit with an idea that sounds simple, but does so much work. And this is where, we talked so much about telling your AGA story. Not the organization story, not the chapter story, but your story. Why you joined, why you stayed, which relationship mattered, which opportunity changed your trajectory. because nobody joined AGA over a strategic plan. Nobody joined AGA over CCR, although it does help, John. Totally recognize CCR's help. We joined because somebody we trusted said, this made a difference for me. And so before I go further, I was hoping we could make this a little bit interactive. How are folks feeling about that? Thumbs up, reactions? All right. Could you please drop in the chat how you're feeling today or something that has you energized for the next year in terms of our leadership, what you took away from lead, what you might have taken from PDT, but what is energizing you about the end of the summer and ramping up our fall for AGA programming with your chapters? And you can just put your all the collaboration, love it. Yeah, keep them going in the chat. This is great. Connecting with students through BAP. Yes, we're not in it alone. Thank you, Kelly. And sharing chips with the chapter, absolutely. Networking and new relationships, new leadership and transitioning roles. I love it, whether that's personal, new leadership within the chapter, some of the new leadership that's coming on the NGB, connecting with the local BAP. Oh, this is fantastic. Keep those coming in the chat. Would love to. I'm going to go back and hopefully with Dana and others' help review some of them later. But that is exactly the energy that we're hoping for the rest of the year. So, and also I want to say that that's honestly one of my favorite things about this group. We are spread literally across the country, and this is a chance for us to learn from each other in real time, to support each other in real time, and to energize each other in real time. One of the things that I learned at LEAD, well, it really reminded me, is that in the chapters, our chapter leadership, we're not event platters. We are building professional communities. We're helping our community, our colleagues develop technical skills, build confidence, giving emerging leaders chances to really take hold and create their first real platform. We're connecting people across agencies and levels of government and career stages who never would otherwise meet, who would never otherwise share stories, who would never otherwise help each other grow. That work matters more now, not less. People are looking for community, for growth, for a trusted network. And we, thanks in no small part to your leadership, we have all three. We just need to make them visible. And so the harder question after any good conference is, what are we actually doing differently? The three lead action items that we had and what done looks like. At LEAD, we were all asked to do three things before today, as Dana outlined. And I wanted to kind of put a concrete version in front of each of you. One of them, sharing what you learned with your CEC, not a summary email. Putting LEAD on your next CEC agenda as a standing item. Hopefully some of you have already been able to do that. Hasn't been too much time since LEAD, so maybe that's in your upcoming meeting. But what's the one specific resource from LEAD or PDT or these meetings that the CEC can act on this quarter? Two, being able to complete one meaningful action to move your chapter forward. If you're still deciding what that is, that's great. Here's what I'd recommend. Invite someone. Ask one member to take on one small role, one thing, one task that helps support the chapter. Moderate a panel, run a meeting, host a CGFM study session, a one-hour ask, not a one-year commitment. By starting small, that's really how I got started, and I'm sure that's how many of us got started. It's the cheapest leadership pipeline that we have. And then three, being able to practice your AGA story and your recruiting pitch. This is where we're going to do it today. Hopefully, we'll be spending some time in our breakout sessions, but one of the things, and we talked about this a little bit, LEAD, is being able to write it down in just a few sentences. One sentence on why you joined, one on what changed for you, one on what you tell someone standing where you were. Keep it in your notes app, keep it in your phone, have it be something you can have on a sticky note, just a couple of bullets to remind you. So that way you have that ready in a hallway, on a panel, in a chapter meeting on LinkedIn. It's your story, and owning it and sharing it. There's somebody that needs to hear that story. And you can use it. Every chapter officer bringing one guest to your first fall event or whatever your to do out is, that's where you get to use your story. It's not a pitch, it's an invitation with your name attached. And picking up the phone for one person you haven't seen for a while at your chapter meetings. Many of us don't leave AGA. Many people don't leave AGA. They drift. And if nobody notices, they don't know that we really want to see them back. And another thing that might cost you nothing, might be really easy, consider maybe a 5-minute member spotlight on every chapter meeting agenda this year. That way you're sharing everybody's stories. Now, for our next chat question, I'd really want to learn from you as you're getting ready into your breakouts. Of the 3 lead action items, is there anything that you were able to complete? Or is there anything that maybe you were stuck on? Something that you got started, but you're like, oh, I'm not sure where to go with this. You can put that in the chat. And it's okay if I'm not seeing anything in the chat. So I'm wondering if maybe it means that nobody was stuck on anything. That's awesome. Working on telling me a JE story. Yep. JE, absolutely. I know there's a few of us that it's hard, especially if you might be introverted, especially if you're like, well, it's my story. Why would anybody else care? But holding on to those thoughts, finding corporate sponsors. Yep, absolutely. And we did have some resources at Lead that hopefully will help. Oh, sweet, Tona. We've completed all 3 items. That is fantastic. Now, as we're holding on to things that we were stuck on or things that we've accomplished, this is the community. These are the breakout sessions to be able to share some of those stories and share some of the things you're getting stuck on and maybe get some ideas from others for how we can get unstuck. What you might need to be able to put some of those things into action. And with that, I just want to say thank you again. I'm excited to see what comes out of today's meeting, and I'll pass the mic back over to Dana.
All right, thank you very much, Sarah. I appreciate that. We are actually going to talk about those lead action items in our breakout sessions today. So get prepare yourselves. That was a great intro to that. All right, so next, what I would like to do is I'm going to pass the mic over again. I wanted to pass it over, excuse me, to Ann Everts, our AGA's CEO, to just talk a little bit about our national leadership as well as the governance structure here at AGA and just a few opportunities coming up. So without further ado, I would like to pass it over to Ann.
Guess I have to take it off mute, don't I? So welcome everybody. Glad that you're here and spending some of your time this afternoon with us. This will be, I believe, the last time I get to speak with you as AJ's CEO. I'm retiring at the end of the month. Looking forward to it, but have absolutely loved the last 12 years as your CEO. It was a great experience for me. It's you guys are family, so it's tough to leave this very big extended family that I now have, but you won't lose me totally because I'll stay an AGA member. I've been one since 1999, so I will continue to be one. And so you'll see me around. I just won't be in this role, but I do have a note on my phone on my screen. I have 9 minutes to talk about 7 slides, so let's go. Okay, so our National Governing Board members, hopefully you met them either at LEAD or at PDT. As some of you, or you should, hopefully you know, our officers have really a 3-year term. So they start out as president-elect, which Sarah is, that for a year, and then they become president, and then they become past national president. So they have really a role for 3 years. They're just changing roles through those 3 years. So Sarah, you don't get to leave us anytime soon. And actually neither does Melinda. That same goes for Atisha and Carla. They are treasurer and treasurer-elect. And then as past national president and past national treasurer, some of you may not know, they end up leading our leadership development committee that helps us continue to identify and select the next generation, but just the next year's set of leaders. So they have very important roles. So I'm extremely pleased that we have this great foursome, and it's all women. Yay, team! Just kidding. Just thought I had to put a little plug in there. Okay, so next slide, please. Okay, our National Governing Board members for 2026-27. So we have directors for not all of our areas. So those of you kind of think about this. So right now we have James Bowden in Area 1, Chris Payton 3. I went from 1 to 3. So what area am I missing? I'm missing Area 2. So we'd really like to have one of you experienced chapter leaders raise your hand, say you'd like to participate and serve on our board, because we certainly want to make sure that your area is represented. Now, just because it's not represented on our board today or this minute, we're not ignoring you. We're just going to have to do additional outreach to you. So Dana is going to be like bugging you all the time. So just want to let you know. Teresa Miner is our Area 4 director, and Kelly Stefanko is Area 6. Okay, what number is missing? What number is between 4 and 6? It is Area 5. We have the same challenge with Area 5. So we need to find an area director, people that are interested in wanting to kind of step up and help be more of not just a chapter person, but a chapters person, because you as an area director, get to help coordinate with the chapters in that area. So it's a little bit more of an expanded role than what you all have right now as NCC reps. Okay, next slide. Okay, we have Area 7 and 8. No gap there. Look at that. We have both of those covered. So we have Shauna that's come in from Area 7, and Pollyanakis is Area 8. Now, just to remind you also is area or chapter directors for chapters have a 2-year term on the board. So Paul will be rolling off of 8, so we'll be thinking about who next will be coming in for Area 8. We also have 2 directors at large, and that's kind of an interesting role. A lot of people say, so what the heck do directors at large do? Well, they do a lot, because the board always has a couple of special projects they come up with, or areas that need additional or special attention. And so our directors at large may come in with a preconceived notion of, I'm going to do X on the board this year. Well, that may kind of morph and change and evolve as things morph and change and evolve on our board. So again, it's kind of I don't want to say it's like a swing player, but kind of. It's who do you, people that you can put on things that we really want to put more attention to in support of not only the board, but the NCC and our membership and chapters at large. Okay, I don't see any questions yet, so I'm cool. The last 2 on this slide represent 2 important components. Drew Sadler is our chair for professional certification. So on our professional certification board, that's the CGFM, and represents, as the chair of that group, represents CGFM on our board. And then Carrie Canfield is coming in as our new chair for our corporate partner advisory group. Now, why do we have a corporate person that's separate? Because when you think about it, you could be in the private sector and you could have run for director for Area 2, right? So that could be a corporate person there. Well, Carrie, as the chair of our corporate partner advisory group, we have about 70-ish corporate partners today, and she helps to represent them. They are a very important part of AGA because they help support a lot of our certainly our big events. You all have been through, if you've been to, whether it's PDT, internal controls and fraud, NLT, you've been through the solutions hall. Well, a lot of those, usually the majority of those vendors that are showcasing what they do and how they support the community, the majority of them are corporate partners. So they've paid in to participate as a corporate partner. So they have a dues, their own dues kind of set. It's a little bit different from, well, actually, it's a lot different from our dues, but they support us in a lot of what we do. Whether it's developing and conducting research, we develop papers. Susan Fritzland and I work closely with our corporate partners that are doing special research projects. So we make sure that we are sometimes the connection between government agencies and them, and getting them in the door because they're with AGA and they're with us, and we're doing something and doing research for the good of the community and to help move some initiative along, or maybe learn more about an initiative and give more, put more daylight on it. So our corporate partners are very important to us. Actually, that's how I started, as my connection with AGA was as a corporate partner in 2005 or 2006. Seems like forever ago. Okay, next slide, please. Okay, here's our AGA national staff. So hopefully you got to meet them at LEAD. If you weren't able to be at LEAD in person and you were at PDT, hopefully you got to meet them there. And if you weren't at either one, I'm really sorry, because I miss getting to meet all of you. So this is our staff. We are, as I call it, it's a lean, mean, hardworking machine. We do not have a lot of overlap or duplication anywhere on the team, but everybody knows their role and supports AGA and loves all of you guys. So these are the folks. If you need to reach out, they're also on our website, so you can find that too. And hopefully you have some of these folks in speed dial, or just in your email box, so you can reach out to us. Okay, so our governance structure. A lot of folks believe, they think about our governance structure as the National Governing Board, and then you have the NCC. Well, you have several, as you say, things hanging off of that National Governing Board. And to our left is the National Office of Staff that's managed by the CEO, and whoever comes behind me will be managing that group in support of all things AGA and all things that the National Governing Board does. We have 16 voting members, as you see, in the National Governing Board, and we went through the directors for chapters. We had the 2 directors at large, our PCB and our CPAG chairs, the 2 presidents, the current and elect, and 2 treasurers. And then the CEO is a non-voting member. And as I've said to several people before, I don't have a vote, but I have a voice. And you guys get to hear that before you vote. But anyway, to the right-hand side are 3 very important groups. And the biggest and brightest, and red is my favorite color, so I'm going to start there, the NCC, which is y'all. So thank you so very much for participating with us and stepping up as leaders in your organization and helping us to continue to grow AGA, expand its footprint, bring new people into it, and bring new topics. I mean, everything comes from you all and floats up from the membership, whether it's, wow, we're now starting to see, I don't know, some new technology or some new focus in our agency. Who else is doing that? Or who else is experiencing it because I need help or I want to learn? You all are a great kind of, I don't want to say petri dish, but it's a great area to share with each other what you know and to help each other rise. It's like with all else, we help each other rise. So please leverage this communication that you have, the connection that you have through this network and the NCC to share ideas, to get help, and to help each other. Our boards and committees and task forces also support the National Governing Board. So some of you have been on the Finance and Budget Committee. we have a governance committee, we have several committees that we're frankly going to be looking at over the coming year and identifying, thank you, identifying which committees, do we need to rename? Do we need new ones? Do we need to combine some? We've recently gone through an external governance review. So we hired or contracted out with actually it was a law firm that helped us review some of our governance area, actually governance in general. And they made some recommendations. So we're currently going through those and identifying what can help AGA work better, coordinate better, leverage our resources better to continue to move us forward. So there may be some changes that you'll see in some of these. There may be some committees that get combined. There may be renamed, but it's all to help us work better, make better decisions and more informed decisions to support AGA and keep it moving forward. So I don't want to say stand by, but yeah, stand by. There may be some things as we evolve and go through the report that we got from our outside governance consultants. We're also working with AJ's lawyer to make sure that we interpret and we stratify those recommendations, whether the ones are the, man, we got to do that right now, it's awesome. The second one maybe will evolve into that, and then maybe there's that, maybe that thing that doesn't fit us as well as as it might. But again, there'll be decisions made by the board. You'll hear from them, and you'll hear from the board, as the year evolves and things take shape and some decisions are made, and maybe reaching out to you all for your opinions on some of these things. So kind of stand by. It's a great opportunity to continue to take AGA kind of to the next level. And I think we're, looking, when we changed the governance structure, and I guess it was 2016, we said we'd relook at it and say what works, what doesn't work, what could work better. So that's what we're going to continue to work on at the national governing board level. And certainly you guys will be involved, and certainly will be kept apprised of anything that goes on as we make change and move forward. Next slide. I think we're done.
We are, yes.
Unless you have any final words. More than my 8 minutes. I'm sorry.
That is quite all right. That's quite all right. That was all important information. So thank you very much. If we could all give Anne another huge virtual round of applause.
Thank you.
That would be wonderful. It really has been a pleasure. And I know, I think I can speak for everyone that we'll miss you very much, but we're excited that we will still see you. So
I'll still be around. You can't get rid of me that easy.
Good. Excellent. All right. Okay. So now I'm going to pass it over to John Staley, who is going to talk to us a little bit about some partnership updates.
Well, thanks, Dana.
So
Great to see everybody. For those of you that were at LEAD, this is a reminder of sort of the North Star for some of the partnerships we're talking about, right? This is Beta Alpha Psi. On the map here are our chapters and chapters from Beta Alpha Psi who we recently talked to in person in Baltimore. We're going to continue to add to this list, but you'll notice some areas there's lots of overlap, other areas more to follow and to come in that particular front. You'll see this slide on a regular basis, and you'll start to see the different organizations change some color as we start to create partnerships with them. What we're looking for at LEAD in 27 is for every chapter to do what I did, which is have swag from the university they are partnering with. We like to try and keep things simple here, right? We want you to be finding a BAP chapter that you can do something with. If you would like to learn more about that or have questions about maybe who your BAP chapters are, I just put in the link, a webinar that's going to happen on the 11th of August, where we will be inviting some of the BAP students we met and our chapter members to come together and share about the connections they are making and what this actual partnership looks like. It's going to continue to evolve over the next year. It is not scary. It is fun. F-U-N, having good times with us for sure. So if you'd like to learn more about BAP and the opportunities to be a part of it, check out that webinar. It's one of many partnerships we'll be talking about, but this one is the one that's most actionable right now from a chapter perspective. And Dana, speaking of actions, if you go to the next slide, we're really excited to flag to everybody that the Government Finance Case Challenge is now up and open. In fact, this is one of my favorite events. As a city council member, we were the Government Finance Case Challenge city, and we got to see the impact of having people tell our story using publicly available data. This is a great experience for students. It's actionable, gives them a chance to work together. Last year, City Roanoke, in fact, invited the winners to present in a work session to their city council. So we're really excited for this. And to make it even better, we have a challenge for you all. And Dana is going to put that up here right now. The challenge is pretty simple. 8 areas. We want to make sure we have at least one submission from every area. We're all about metrics. We're all about sharing success stories. So as this application continues to flow forward, we want you to go out there. Sarah set the stage for it. Invite people to be part of our great family that's here. Invite them into the membership. Invite them to be a part of this. This is free. There is no travel required, and they get great experience using government data. This is the type of partnerships we're excited to be putting forward and to be sharing on there. So if you have any questions on this or other partnerships that are out there, maybe you heard about NAPA, maybe you have questions about GFOA, maybe you heard this crazy thing about Olympics. We're in for all of it. Come talk to me. We're always happy to share what's going on. And I know area directors will be following up more on BAP in our breakout sessions as well.
So, John, we do have one question, excuse me, in the chat that I want to pose to you. Craig from the Seattle chapter said some universities, including mine, have accounting student associations that aren't affiliated with BAP. How can these associations be included in the partnership?
It's a great question, and we would welcome them. And the model we're creating with BAP is scalable regardless of the local university's affiliation. We're focusing on BAP because of that national to national relationship. But if there are other national organizations that you would recommend, send them my direction. We're happy to chat with them.
All right, awesome. Thank you so much, John, for sharing. And in my follow-up email, I will include the links to all of these things. So be sure to join that August 11th call. All right. And now I'm going to pass it over to Meredith Newman, who is going to talk a little bit more about this year's membership campaign. So Meredith, you ready? Take it away.
Thanks so much, Dana. And just echoing what our other staff members and Sarah have said about thank you for being here. Thank you for being at LEAD. We always love working with you. If we can go to the next slide. You may be familiar with our More Members, More Impact campaign. It has slowly kicked off. We're letting it percolate this summer, and you'll see a lot more of it in the fall. The challenge does run through March 31st of 2027, so through renewals next year. There will be incentives, and while I don't have them completely approved and finalized yet, I will be rolling those out to you soon, but there will be incentives tiered at 1 new member, 2 new members, 5, and 10. So we definitely want to reward you for all that hard work, as well as our top recruiter always gets free hotel and registration for PDT. So that'll be Chicago next summer. That is with 10 or more recruits. And then second and third place, same thing, registration for PDT with 10 or more recruits. Incentives will be distributed quarterly, and our first redemption, I'm anticipating early October. If we can go to the next slide. So you may be more familiar with the 250 for 250, and thank you to our NGB members. I know especially Sarah, but she was not the only one who came up with this number for us. It is our nation's 250th birthday, so we are looking for 250 new recruited members between your last NCC meeting in June and the end of fraud conference in September. That's September 23rd. We can go to the next slide. You can keep up with this challenge under chapter resources. This it is phase 1 with 250 for 250, but it will also go through March 31st. When you go to that site, you'll see a live tracker. The live tracker will be available at the end of this week. Right now, there is a little screenshot that I'll show you in just a moment. Don't go there right now. There is a lot of information to support you in recruiting. So you'll see a chart of our member benefits. There's a listing of who is AGA for, who belongs in AGA membership. You'll see our member types in case you need a refresher there. There are some sample scripts, 30 seconds and 2 minutes, that you can make your own, and a step-by-step guide to make your own script. And then a long list of common objections that we hear to membership and how I would respond to those. So if there are other things you think would be useful in your recruiting new member journey, please don't hesitate to reach out to me. I would love to know about that.
Before, sorry to interrupt, Meredith. We do have
go
one
ahead.
question in the chat. So it said, Abigail Hunt said, do they need to be paid members or does that include student members?
This is only counting paid members. So student members, professor members, we love, love, love to have them. We don't know how long they're going to stick around. And we are, we're investing time and energy into them, but this is restricted to the paid new memberships. In addition to the resources on that website, please refer back to your lead attendees. You heard Sarah talk a little bit about the, telling your AGA story. We did an exercise on that. Additionally, your area directors, there's some overlap there. And then myself and our AGA staff, we're always excited to support you in that. If you did the exercise with me at Lead of writing your own AGA story and you think the rest of your chapter leadership would benefit from that, I would love to do that with you. In Dana's follow-up email, you will have a link to book time with with some of the AGA staff. So you can always just put that right on my calendar. And we'll go to the next slide. Yes, and put in the chat, when people join and pay a membership, they take more ownership of their involvement and their AGA journey. That's so true. They also then usually tell their whole workplace and maybe some friends because they're excited. You can track your own progress and maybe help us double check our data on My AGA. So when you are logged in, you can go to the profile tab. You can see that at the top left. And this is almost at the very bottom. If you scroll to the end, you'll see who recruited you and who you have recruited. Anyone with a join date where that orange circle is of June 22nd or later is counted towards the challenge. This is our live data. So if it's not here, we don't have it. If it's wrong here for you, it is also wrong here for us. Maybe we had a typo in an ID number or something like that. So I would love, not now, after the call, maybe on a break, if you would log into your My AGA and just double check, is there a stranger there? We hope not. Is the person you recruited listed as your recruiter? Let us know. And again, my email will be in your follow-up email. The information here is reciprocal. So whoever shows up on your My AGA, you're showing up on theirs as well. This is only editable by AGA staff. So if something is wrong or missing, or you need something removed because you don't want to be displayed on the other person's profile, just reach out. We can take that down. Like I said, it's live data. So once we take it out, it's out. We are trying to balance here, providing you enough information for you to be able to identify who it is without providing too much personal information. So as I look at this on the screen, I think we'll add primary chapter membership to each, so that might help give a little more context around it. And I'll change where it says informal on the left. That's the convention we use for your preferred first name. So I'll change that to say first name. Again, let me know what else would be useful here. And there's an email address right there while you're logged in, or you can always email me directly if you need any changes there. We'll go to the next slide. This is referring back to our More Members, More Impact Challenge campaign. This is my live dashboard. Took a screenshot for you. You can see that so far we have 16 new recruited members. That means I am aware of, and our database has a record of 16 people. If you have recruited someone since June 22nd or ever, and it's not showing in your My AGA, please let me know. We want to count them. So this is the same information that will eventually be live on the other website that's linked under chapter resources. This is unfortunately internal, so I can't point you to this directly, but we will get this information to you. At the end of this week, you'll have live data. You can see that right now we have a 3-way tie in our challenge for Crystal, Kelly, and Treva, who have each recruited 2 new members since the challenge began. So now we'll hear from Kelly for a quick minute about her recruiting experiences.
Well, I don't feel like I'm one of the most successful recruiters, but I am persistent. And this year I went from being a federal government auditor to a city government auditor. And so it being in a new sector led me to think about new organizations that might not be part of AGA. And so I went out and looked up city auditors' offices around the state of Virginia and wrote to them and invited them to come to meetings and told them about AGA. And I will say I did not get a lot of success, but I have John Steely in the back of my mind who says, you have to ask 3 times. So I feel like at least we made the initial contact, and I'm going to continue to follow up. But I think when you get someone signed up, that's kind of just the beginning. And kind of, I think Anne mentioned that the 2 people that I've recruited during PDT, I made a point to follow up with them with an email when I got back, and sent them our chapter information and when our next event was, and really kind of made them feel welcome, I hope. So again, I wish I had more advice or suggestions. I just throw a lot of mud against the wall, like I know a lot of you do. And so I certainly look forward to hearing success stories from the rest of you. So thanks, Meredith, for the opportunity.
Yes, thank you. Before you turn your camera off, I just want to kind of reiterate something you alluded to. Has it been easy?
Oh gosh, no.
Has it
It's hard.
gotten
I think
easier the more you practice?
it absolutely has. It absolutely has. And certainly PDT was a great opportunity with lots of people that were enjoying AJ benefits, and like something to think about if you have non-members attend your chapter events and they're having a good time, and they're already there. So taking advantage of those opportunities when people know about AJ, maybe at non-members that come to your events.
Definitely. Thank you so much, Kelly. Really appreciate it. Um, I do have one more slide while Dana is pulling that up. Gosh, I could talk about all of this for a whole day, and I kind of did at Lead, but it's about spreading awareness, right? There are over 90,000 government entities in the US, and we have under 12,000 members. So there is a gap there of people who just don't even know that AGA exists. So make sure with your coworkers, your friends who are in similar spaces, that you're talking about your experience with AGA. You clearly find value here with us, or you wouldn't be giving us so much of your time and energy, which we so appreciate. And if you find that value, just make sure you're telling, if you tried a new restaurant, it was your new favorite, you would definitely tell somebody about it. So tell somebody about us. Couple quick notes on membership, and then I think you might have a break next. We hear throughout the year from chapters who want to change the amount of their chapter dues. And I would encourage your CEC to have a conversation about what could a different amount of chapter dues do for your membership. Would you be able to offer more, included or free things for your members? Would you be able to enhance the value of chapter membership? We only run that billing in January, and we do a lot of preparation for that billing starting in the fall. So if you know, or when you know that you want to change chapter dues, please email me and the webmaster, and we'll need that information by December 1st. We're not going to put this in today's follow-up email, but we will say this to you many, many times between now and December 1st. I have also heard from some chapters recently who might not be getting the new member emails when someone joins. There are a lot of links in that chain between the person joining and you getting the email. So any one of those, including a spam filter, might be preventing that. Let us know. The subject line is "A new member has joined," and they go at midnight Eastern time. And then I know I already said this. I know I'm a broken record on this. I always want to hear from you. I want to hear what you're struggling with, what's going well. I love to share your ideas of things that are going well with other chapters. So I would love to meet with you anytime. That link is here. It's also going to be in your follow-up email. Thank you so much.
Oh, oops. All right. Thank you very much, Meredith. And of course, be on the lookout for an email from her about some more information regarding our challenge. Okay, so as Meredith said, we are at that time where we're going to take a 5-minute break. Now, the time that is listed up here needs to be edited, but we will meet back here at, let's call it 1:49, very specific. But we'll meet back here then, and then we'll go into our breakout groups. So everyone enjoy your 5 minutes. All right. Welcome back, everyone. Sorry about the video. It paused a little there, but I hope you had a nice 5 minute break. Sorry about that. Welcome back, and we are going to just kind of move forward with our breakout rooms. So, as I had told you previously, today's breakout rooms are going to be with your area directors. I know earlier we said that we didn't have any area directors for Area 2 or 5, but we have some wonderful AGA members and past governing board members who are going to fill in for that. So, today's goal in your breakout sessions, right, is to share progress. Like Sarah shared earlier, you're going to talk a little bit about those lead action items. And if you did not attend lead, hopefully your attendee did tell you a little bit about those action items. So to make it a little bit more specific, we do want a priority is to just share on one of these lead action items. So, of course, there was to share the resources with your CEC. Hopefully, you've been able to do that and copied your area director. The other two here are what was a meaningful action that your chapter has taken or completed since lead? Remember, that was an action of your choice. And then the final one was attendees were asked to practice their AGA story and recruiting pitch. So if you could share how that went with your area, maybe you want to practice within your group, that is fine as well. So after you have a little bit of discussion about those lead action items, we'd also like for you to talk a little bit about maybe some successes your chapter has experienced recently, or maybe a success you had with the action item or pitch, AGA story pitch. Were there any barriers or challenges that you faced when completing those action items, or just in general your chapter has faced that you'd like to talk about? And then lastly, what support would be helpful from the chapters in your area, right? We really want to, speak on that collaboration with the other chapter leaders in your area. It's very important. They're very good resources and tools and good people for you to talk to. So a lot of discussion here in your breakout groups. Before we return, what I would ask is that area directors, you select at least one chapter representative to share one of the following items. So I'm not going to read that again. It's just one of the things that you talked about, a key takeaway, a highlight, something that you think would benefit the group. All right, so for the breakout room instructions, what's going to happen is I am going to launch the breakout rooms, and you'll go into Zoom to find that. Once I launch them, please move yourself to the appropriate area. I'll show your chapter's area on the next slide. Then our director of first chapters will lead conversation around the topics for about 35 minutes there. And then I'll provide you a 5-minute warning in the chat so you guys know to wrap up those conversations and know that we're heading back in soon. So before I start the breakout sessions and show the areas, does anyone have any questions? All right. So please take a look at this slide. If you don't know which area you're in, the chapters are listed in alphabetical order. And I am going to go ahead and open all of the breakout rooms. So you could go ahead and get moving. So I would just like to call on a volunteer. I don't know if anyone area directors assigned a chapter leader to share a key takeaway, but just wanted to call on anyone to share some highlights from their breakout session that they talked about. And if not, I can choose someone.
Hi, Dana. It's Donna.
Hello.
So
Oh, good. Hi, Donna.
Area 2, we knew Anthony Hernandez wants to share. He's going to share some highlights with us.
All right, Anthony, take it away.
Hi guys.
Thanks.
Yeah, no problem. Still good morning here over on the West Coast. We're almost approaching lunch. But a lot of our key takeaways is, we do have a lot of similar struggles, but I think, the action in order to try to overcome that struggle, which is recruiting, is just being a bit more like, especially pointing to myself, being more active in searching for other individuals, whether it's to join the board or even to be new members. With my own respective department, there isn't a lot of support from my respective management, but at the same time, I'm still at least talking to like the accountants over in my department about just AGA because especially on days we have our meetings, I'll try to wear, like an AGA pin, someone notices, and then they just try to, they just inquire about it. And then that's kind of where the conversation begins. When it came to my story in terms of how I became onto the board, I was just more going to the meetings to one, it was the CGFM that brought me to AGA originally. And once I started studying, it became a CGFM. I attended the meetings to gain CPEs and then ultimately was approached by the treasurer at that time to see if I wanted to be a CGFM chair to try to offer trainings to our local chapter. And so that's how I ultimately became involved with AGA was just because I was asked. And I think if I had not been asked, that's my AGA story would have been very short. So kind of paying that forward now is trying to definitely do that. As president of my chapter, I do run our local monthly or our monthly PDMs and trying to get to know and talk to all of our members that do attend and trying to keep track of those recurring members that do attend and then eventually approaching them. So kind of like with succession planning is been a real struggle for our chapter, but obviously being more active in that now. Like now I think moving into my third year with being a CEC board member that I'm starting to learn a lot of what I've done, but then now trying to now expand those responsibilities or at least trying to be more outgoing in recruiting. And I think, it's just those simple asks and kind of like what's been elevated or what's been spoken about earlier is, you know, don't just take that one no because because I've been approached even to serve on NGB, and so it's not a no forever, it's just a no at the moment. So that's kind of like, if you're asking someone and they do say no, it's probably because it's a no right now. But I think once that awareness has been brought to the individual that these opportunities are available, then they might want to, then they might start, internally planning to ultimately make room and space. And, I with this one individual, I'm just going to ask them to do one thing. Work on our CCR. We already have someone on our board that can train you for that. And it's for that individual to then ultimately take that responsibility off of someone else so that that new response that first individual can now become president elect and then eventually you know have that succession planning and trying to have like a cycle of that going.
Awesome.
um
Thank you.
yeah.
Oh,
Mhm.
sorry.
No.
I was
I
about
think
to say,
that was I was trying to think like what else we kind of talked about other than, really leveraging our local BAP chapters. We did briefly discuss about that as well. And, especially hearing from John earlier that that conference took place in Baltimore. And I think we were kind of waiting for John to be like, all right, now that that's happened, now we can kind of go forward to, approach those local BAP chapters.
well, awesome. Thank you, Anthony, for sharing. You a lot of really great information. And we appreciate that. Just for the sake of time, I'm gonna call on G.
Yeah, I was going to say our group, which was very small, our group kind of reiterated a lot of what Anthony said. We've got some of the same barriers. Our Seattle chapter is reconstituting their CEC according to Gordon. Gordon Craig was on, he's their new treasurer elect. So he's brand new into this. He's been with AGA before, he's been with the feds a little bit, but new in this position. So, and our Denver chapter, Kimberly, same kind of thing. They've had some transitions in their board, people moving through. That seems to be a very common theme in our region. So that's kind of the area that they need support in is just kind of helping to reconstitute, rebuild those chapters, get people enthused a little bit. but also just some of the guidance. Where do they go look at national to maybe get some help from national on those? And I reminded them they should be getting certain information. They had some unique ideas to be discussed that, on how does chapters work, things like the 990N forms that all chapters have to fill out. They were having some struggles with those and trying to see if there's a more effective or efficient way to do those sort of things. But pretty much it's the same thing, just trying to have barriers of new chapters, getting people really involved. I think sometimes it's just boils down to, I know in our state, there's no training. There's no funding for training. So trying to bring this out, that AGA can be very inexpensive and good training, and bring that out to the membership that are in your area. Because I think all states and the feds are kind of tight on cash right now. So that was pretty much what we went over.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing, Jay. And I know you talked a little bit about those chapter treasurers. I know that Atisha has sent out some invites for quarterly one-on-one meetings, and I know she's very willing and able to help with any of those filings, things like that. So definitely utilize our NGB as a resource there. And then Anne left a great comment in there. Can any other treasurers share their treasurer handbooks of tips for routine actions as well? So we do have about 10 minutes left to share. So I just wanted to see if we had another area. That was area 1 and area 2 who'd like to share what they talked about.
Hey Dana, this is Michael with area 8. Could I go ahead or do you want me to wait? Okay, I'll go ahead. Okay, thanks. So a lot of our leaders haven't got to meet with their CEC yet to share what they learned at LEAD or action items. They've been working on a lot of their strategic goals and discussions, some collaboration opportunities. The Charleston chapter in West Virginia and the MOV chapter in West Virginia is going to co-host a CCR event later this year. So we're collaborating on that. And then I think some just barriers or challenges that we're all facing is just membership. And then a few of us are looking at the connections with our BAP chapters in our local areas. So I think that's it, unless Paul has anything else to add.
All right. Waiting with my microphone. You might just want to mention, under successes, the recent success with Baltimore.
Yeah, the success with Baltimore is, the revitalizing. Johnny Ramsey is doing an amazing job with revitalizing that chapter. Definitely great spotlight for what he's doing over there. So I don't know if Johnny wants to speak a little more on that.
Well, Johnny will pass.
I concur, though. He's been doing great stuff and a lot of stuff too. So, okay, back to you, Dana. Thank you.
All right, awesome. Sorry, just making sure I didn't interrupt. Thank you all for sharing. Really great insights there as well. I know we will have a few membership town halls and things like that coming up, so make sure you check those out as well. All right. Any other? I know we heard from area 1, 2, 8. It's in the middle, 3.
I'll go. Area 6. We had a shy group, but we had people that even called in from their vacation in Disney World. So a very dedicated group. But one thing that seems to be still a challenge, which may also be a lead action item, is these websites. And so a number of chapters still don't have their websites up and going. And so for a number of folks, that's their priority, is to get their website something recognizable and updated, so when they go out and try to recruit folks, they'll have a place to come and see the information. So one thing that I know in my own chapter, we've been having a lot of frustration in getting our website updated, and it turned out that the webmaster did not have the appropriate administrator credentials. And so if you're finding that's the problem, definitely check in. Laura is excellent to work with. And so if for whatever reason it's not working and you're pulling your hair out, check in with Laura and she can take a look at your credentials because that could just be an easy fix that makes it that much easier. One other thing that someone brought up, was brought up at LEAD as well, was your Google Drive, your chapter drive. I think it was Nashville, and Donna was talking about their chapter budget is so significant. It's so helpful for them to have that from last year and previous years. And the chapter Google Drive is a great place to to put your current year files, but also to get last year's leadership to leave their files. And so I think Dana said every chapter has a Google Drive, and so if you're having a hard time logging in or need the the credentials for it, to check in with Dana. So I was glad to hear that that's being used.
Awesome. Thank you for sharing, Kelly. And just to, comment on a few of those things. So for the chapter websites, just so everyone knows, unlike previously, the chapter websites can only be edited by webmasters. So if you don't have a webmaster, that's likely the issue there with getting into your chapter website. And I just want everyone to know you are allowed to have multiple webmasters. So please don't think that that is, just for one person in your chapter. I will send in the follow-up email a link to Laura's booking page. Laura is our digital marketing manager here at AGA National. She really spearheads the website initiative. So she is a great resource to help get your website up and running, and she does one-on-one calls, and what I've heard is they've been very beneficial. So take a look at that. And then the second thing that Kelly talked about, which was the Google Drives, she is correct. All of the RAGA chapters have a Google Workspace account. So that includes Google Drive. It does not have access to Gmail, but the Google Drive is a really great tool to utilize because you can share it with multiple different people in your chapter's leadership. It's kind of just like a hub to store all of your information. And it's usually a very easy way to transfer information year after year because everything, like I said, is stored in one place. So if you are not aware that your chapter has a Google Drive, I would check with your previous chapter president to see if they have the credentials. And if they don't, feel free to send me an email and I can get you going with that. And JD, I have not heard of anyone seeing a weird Latin on their website. So I would recommend reaching out to Laura there to see what's going on.
I'm just listening.
All right.
Okay.
We've got about 5 more minutes left. Do we have anyone else that wants to share?
So Dana,
Yes.
oh sorry.
Hello.
Yes. Oh, sorry.
You're fine.
For area 7, we have a lot of the same commentary as everyone else. One thing we are going to focus on this year as an area is more collaboration, like within our area itself, like either sharing speaker listings. Like I know it's amazing that you now have all the speakers on the AGA website, but even just like locally sharing within ourselves. And like same thing, like best practices, kind of just more collaboration within our area. And I think everyone's actually started on all their action items, which is great, and excited to see where the year goes.
Awesome. Thank you. We're really happy to hear that you're working within your area. I think that's a great tool. We have a lot of chapters that do multi-chapter PDTs, and they're very successful. So we're happy to hear that you guys are using each other as a resource there, and that you guys have started on all of your action items. Thank you for sharing. All right, so just want to open the floor, see if we want to hear from area 3 or 4, maybe.
Sure.
Area 5 a little. Yes, Chris. We'll start with you, Chris.
Sure. I said I did not ask if anyone else wanted to speak. So if someone does, speak up now. Otherwise, I good. Yeah, a lot of the same themes. Recruiting for their CECs, membership. Mid-Missouri and Austin are looking for corporate partners. So I was thinking about reaching out to the CPAG, see if we can help them out, see if there's a good fit for them. We're trying to figure out if we can do a CGFM training, like across our area. We're working with Kim on that. And then meaningful actions. Dallas, my chapter, we're working on responding to our state board of accountancy. Like we have a CPE audit saying, give us all your sign-in sheets and all that kind of stuff. So we're working on that. We usually get that like every 2 or 3 years. So that's a big thing for us right now. And then someone said like they had like an onboarding. They got their new CEC kind of situated, this past month. So that was like their big thing. And then some people haven't had their like others. Some people haven't had their CEC meetings yet, but they at least like kind of emailed and informed everybody.
Awesome. Thank you so much for sharing. I love the idea of
Okay, for area 4, I picked Charlene to speak. Charlene, can you go ahead?
Yes. Can you hear me? Okay. Yes, this is Charlene. I'm from the Montgomery, Alabama chapter, and we talked about um recruitment, young professionals, and we also worked on our pitch. And I have one, and I kind of tweaked it a little bit since we were in the meeting. It was AGA is a great networking organization that provides professionals with valuable opportunities to connect, collaborate, and engage with others. Through AGA, you can meet professionals from across the country and around the world, build meaningful relationships, share knowledge and experiences, and create lifelong friendships. It's an organization that not only supports professional growth, but also fosters a strong sense of community. That's the pitch that I kind of been working on. But I think in our meeting for Area 4, we haven't had our most of us haven't had our CEC meetings yet with the new president and the president-elect, and our concerns was really membership. And I kind of think, unless you had something else to say too, Teresa.
Well, a couple people spoke on trying to get the young people involved, and I know a couple already have programs set up with the colleges. So we're going to continue to work on that and get ideas from each other on how we can get the young people involved. That's most of what we talked about. I think somebody's already set, I can't remember which chapter it was that's already set up. Oh, I know who it was, in Arkansas. Jason was speaking with one of the professors, and they brought up beta alpha psi. So he's going to follow up with them to get more information and try to get their chapter more involved in it.
Awesome.
So,
thank you guys so much. Oh, sorry.
Oh, no, that's all I had.
Oh, awesome. Thank you guys so much for sharing. Charlene, we really appreciate you guys sharing that pitch. Everyone, a little round of applause. That was wonderful. And I like that all people are connecting with their local BAP chapters. If you guys need any assistance with that, of course, reach out to us at AGA National. And we are happy to help. And I know that Chris had mentioned something about chapters looking for corporate sponsors. Connecting with your area directors is a great resource. As Chris said, he's going to reach out to some of those corporate sponsors for those chapters, and we can also do that as well at AGA National. So I heard a lot of really great ideas today. Thank you guys for sharing. And if we could just give a round of applause to everyone who braved it and shared out with the group, that would be wonderful. Awesome. All right. So, last thing here is I did just kind of want to share with you guys some upcoming meetings and program year opportunities. So the first one is AGA's internal control and fraud prevention trainings. That's going to take place from September 22nd to 23rd this year. There is in-person or virtual options for registering there. I know a lot of chapters sometimes use the virtual piece of fraud as a way to like host a watch party event like that. So just something to think about, different ways that you can incorporate kind of AGA's national offerings to assist with your chapter as well. We'd love to see you guys in Washington, D.C. if you can make it. So save the date. All right. A couple other things here, just some housekeeping items, I suppose. The NCC meetings, we do have 2 left in this program year. So one is going to be on November 4th, and another one, the one on February might change, so stay tuned. As you guys all know, NCC representatives were pre-registered for these meetings, so I will send out Zoom confirmations right beforehand. Now, of course, if your NCC rep changes, please let me know. Then we also have our treasurers town halls. Same thing, there's 4 throughout the program year. I am going to self-register chapter presidents as well as chapter treasurers and treasurer-elects. And I'll also send out some email reminders for that. So we have one upcoming on August 20th. And then AGA also offers town halls. So those are open to all CEC leaders. The registration information is communicated in a lot of different ways. Leadership Matters, which is our monthly newsletter, ACE Blasts, NCC Meeting emails, and then depending on the town hall, like for example, a communications town hall, right? They're going to cover things about websites, social media. So we'll invite communication chairs, social media chairs, all the applicable roles there. So ones that are coming up, we've talked about previously, we have our student recruiting town hall on August 25th. And then there is that recruiting challenge kickoff on September 2nd. Now, as the year goes on, we do have our citizen-centric reports town hall on September 17th. We have, like I said, our communications town hall. That's going to be on October 20th. That's going to talk a lot about websites, social media, best practices, things like that. If you attended LEAD, it's going to be kind of more of a deeper dive on what they talked about there. And then going all the way into November, we have a CGFM recognition town hall. So it's going to talk a little bit about, how you can get a CGFM recognition in your state, as well as things to gear up for CGFM month in March. All right. Then we've got our upcoming deadlines. Also, I just want to note, no one is expecting you to memorize these things. We have a series of ACE deadlines here. The one that's coming up fastest is the chapter strategic plans and goals. We do want all of our chapters to submit a CCR this year. So just like last year, we are going to offer, if you choose, if your chapter works on their CCR and would like feedback from AGA National prior to the official submission, you can do that. And we just ask that you send it to us by October 23rd. And then that final deadline for CCRs is going to be on November 15th. Now, if anyone is still feeling like I might need some more support with chapter CCRs, we've heard you, and we are hosting some weekly working sessions. They are going to be Thursdays running from September 17th to October 22nd. They're going to be during lunchtime, so 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern. You can join, ask us questions. You can join, just listen in. You can join and decide maybe I have to drop off, whatever works best for you, but we're going to be available for 1 hour every Thursday during lunch to assist you as needed. So one thing I want to say is that I know there is a ton of dates that I just threw at you. Something that I am working on this year, and I'm almost finished with, is a comprehensive AGA calendar. So that's going to have the dates, links, and it's going to include town halls, NCC meetings, treasurers town halls, webinars, CGFM courses, all that good stuff all in one place. If you have children, similar to like a school calendar sort of situation, but with links. So please be on the lookout for that. And not only that, I know I'm the woman behind the emails, but I want to just let you guys know that I am going to be sending some a fair amount out in the next coming weeks, and just make sure you check those out. That's going to help us, do some data organization and verify like your socials, things like that, and join some of these wonderful town halls and things that we have planned for you. So keep a lookout there. And then lastly, in the name of our membership, we have our chapter awards. So as you guys know, we have our ACE awards. And that is based on, the completion of the requirements and such. But we also have a few here that we want to talk about. So we have our overall membership growth award. We have recognized 5 different chapters, and there is 1 chapter per size grouping there. So chapter presidents and membership chairs will be recognized for that award. These are also announced in May along with the ACE award. The next two we have is our Recruiter of the Year award, as well as our Top Recruiter award. So we are looking for AGA members who recruit the most members from April 26th to April 2026 to April 2027. So kind of going along with the more members, more impact challenge there. That also gives you the opportunity to win one of these awards. Also, not noted here, but be on the lookout is for our Chapter Communications Award, and that is really scoring just your communications as a whole. So on your website, social media accounts, how frequently you send newsletters, things like that. All right. And then one last thing I wanted to note, in my follow-up email, in the slides, I'm going to also add some slides about resources, our chapter resources. So there will be lots of different links and things like that in there that you can check out. You should check out. That will have things like marketing materials, our national community service, match requests, I already said marketing materials, good things like that. And one other thing is just that for your chapter websites, obviously that is kind of like the first place that people look. But something that's new with these updated chapter websites is once you post an event on your chapter's website, it automatically uploads to the chapter events calendar on AGA National's website. So that way it's going to get some more coverage, right? And then we can see those events on our website and kind of, put those through social media as best as we can. All right. Now, that is all I have for today. Of course, I'm here if you guys have any questions. If you have any questions after this, feel free to email me as well. Thank you guys all for coming. And if you need anything, we're here. But does anyone have any questions? Just to make sure.
Dana, I had a quick question. That picture from Lead was so cute. Are those going to be on the Flickr when they come out, the Lead pictures as well?
Yes, they are. And they are going to be on the Lead page, but I've also just dropped them in the chat for you. And I'll add them to my follow-up email. Great question. Thank you, John. I appreciate it. And if you don't have any more questions, I hope you have a wonderful afternoon, rest of your day, all that good stuff. And we will see you next time.